All right, здравствуйте, and hello. My name is Ben Taylor. I'm an English teacher from the United States, and I'm also the English language coordinator here in Kazakhstan. I work with American councils, and also I partner with the U.S. Embassy here in Nur Sultan to create lesson plans and activities and English programs for teachers all over Kazakhstan and throughout Central Asia. Um, so obviously for the teachers out there, if you're listening to this, you understand that our work has changed a lot in the last 2 weeks. Because of the COVID-19 or coronavirus pandemic, our students are not in school with us anymore. We are working from home, a lot of us, or maybe working remotely in some other way. And we need to engage those students and continue to make English fun and interesting. But I also think it's very important to get awareness out there to people about how to stay safe during this pandemic and how to keep their families and the community around them safe. And so I've made a lesson plan here that I would like you to be able to use with your students. If you have any questions, my email address is at the bottom of this screen. I will also put my email address in the description on the YouTube video that I'll be posting here in just a moment. Okay? So I've got some objectives for today. The first one, we'll be looking at an article about COVID-19 from the World Health Organization. And I'd like your students to be able to identify 3 or more key strategies for preventing the spread of COVID-19 or the coronavirus. I'd also like to, after that, look at advertising examples to determine what strategies are best for making an effective advertisement, both visually and grammatically. Okay, so we'll talk more about that in a moment here. And once that has been done, I think this is the fun part. Your students can create a poster either alone or with a partner. There's lots of ways to do this online. Advertising one key strategy for safety during a pandemic. And once that's done, I'd like to share those posters online and tag US and KZ, that's the US Embassy in Kazakhstan's social media page on Instagram, so that we can use this material on our social media pages. Okay, so to warm up with the students, I think it's always good to kind of activate their background knowledge. We need to see what they know. So your students, I know this because I have a 4-year-old at home and he's heard about the coronavirus. So I know that your students know something about the coronavirus, but it may be interesting to see, excuse me, what it is that they know. So what have you heard about COVID-19? Do you know any other names for it? Well, so it is also called the coronavirus. This would be something just to see what the students know. How do people around you feel about this virus? So there's a lot of different opinions out there. I know this because I see it on my social media. Some people are very, very, very scared. Some people don't believe it's a problem at all. And then there's different feelings all between. So how do the people around our students feel about this virus? How do you feel about it? I think it's really important that students can actually share their feelings about this. So if you are sharing this with your students, you might do this on WhatsApp or some other social messaging. I would put those questions out there and have the students just talk to you about their thoughts and feelings. Why is this virus so dangerous? So we'll be learning about that in the article here, but maybe your students have an idea what it is that is so dangerous about this particular virus. Okay, and then finally, what can we do to protect ourselves and others from this virus? And that's going to be what we read about in this article here. Okay, so once you've got that warm up, and again, I would recommend maybe doing this on WhatsApp, Telegram, I guess would work. If you have some kind of classroom platform like Moodle or maybe Edmodo, or you're using Canvas, I know there's a lot of different functions and programs that you could use. Any one of those would work for using as a background for asking these questions and having students answer them. But I think it's important that students understand there's not really a wrong answer here. What is important is that they should be able to share their thoughts. Okay, I wouldn't worry too much about grammatical mistakes at this stage. We're getting more just their ideas. Okay. So then the next step is to get informed. So whatever the students know, they could always know more. Okay. I've got an article on the World Health Organization's recommendations for how to stay safe during this period. I will link a link to that article at the bottom of this video. But this is actually from VOA, the Voice of America Learning English website. This is a really great website because it has English language articles written for language learners. So there is already defined vocabulary, things that a student might otherwise be confused about or miss can be helped there. There's also audio, so they can click and listen to the article while they read. I think it's very useful. During that article, looking at that article, maybe just typing on their screen somewhere, students should identify 3 or more key strategies for staying healthy and protected during this time. If you have students who struggle with this, you could remind them that it's the subheadings that actually give some of that idea. So each one of those subheadings might say something like practice social distancing, or wash your hands, or stay at home if you feel sick, whatever. So there's these different ideas that we can look through, and those subheadings make those ideas easier to see. Okay. Some of those phrases still might be confusing for students, like social distancing, and so those are places where we might actually want to talk to students about their own context. As an example, we could say, how could you follow these instructions at your home? How could you social distance? Right? What are some activities that you like to do with your friends that maybe for the next few weeks you just wouldn't do? Right? What strategies are you already using? Okay, so getting the students talking is really important, especially because one student might have an idea that another student could be using or sharing with their parents. Okay, this is one of the most important ways that we can get this information out to people. All right. So the next step, once we've looked at that VOA article, which again, I will link at the bottom of this video, is that we want to learn about advertising. Now, the U.S. State Department actually has a partnership with the University of Pennsylvania in the United States to create a bunch of different MOOCs. These are massive open online courses on a website called Coursera. Now, I will link that also on the video, okay? But if you go to one of those MOOCs, it is actually called the Media Literacy MOOC. This is something where we get to look at advertising, look at what the media is projecting to people, the information shared with us, and decide what is real, what is not real, how is it being sold to us, how are we being given this information. This is a 5-week course, and I invite you to take this course. Okay, there's an email address if you've got some desire to take that course and you want to know more. You could definitely click that email and ask questions. But especially, it's a free registration if you don't want the certificate. And if you look at week 3, I've got a picture of it here. You've got a bunch of different videos. What is advertising? Thinking critically about advertisements. How do advertisers target audiences? And then you've got this kind of check to make sure that it's understood. But during this, we can actually see what it is that makes advertisements work. How are the pictures presented? What colors are used in the advertising? What attitude is being shown? Is it a serious advertisement? Is it a funny advertisement? Is it a scary advertisement? There's a lot of different approaches people will take to sell us some kind of product. So then I would ask the students, if you make an advertisement for being healthy right now, what images would you use? What language would you use? So again, this is on that MOOC. After they've read the article, we would go to this MOOC. I'll have a link below, okay? And then once you register, which is free, you can go to week 3 and you'll have this material, okay? So now your students have some idea of how to stay safe during COVID. They've looked at advertisements, so they understand how to make a good advertisement maybe, or they at least have some ideas how they'd like to do it. Now we can actually do the fun part, which is making a poster. So I'm going to recommend a program that I only learned about last week. It's called Canva. Now your students could do this any way they want. If they want to just make a poster, on paper at home, if they don't have Wi-Fi or data, that would be a great thing to do too. And then take a picture of it and send to you on WhatsApp. That's fine. That's fine. But if they have Wi-Fi, if they have connection to the internet in some way, Canva's a really great one to use. This is actually a really nice, user-friendly graphic design and video production program that you can find for free online, okay? However, it might actually be confusing for students, and so there's a tutorial video here that might be useful as well. Again, that'll be linked below, but it should be easy enough to use. I played around with Canva myself for about 40-50 minutes, and I could figure it out. It might take your students a little longer, but I think you'll see that the posters are very nice looking. It's a very cool production, and students are usually quicker than I am at this stuff anyway. Okay, now when we use pictures, if we want to bring pictures into a poster about washing our hands or something like that, we want to be careful about copyright. And so I'm happy to tell you that pictures can be taken copyright free from this great website called Pixabay. Okay, there are some other websites that would be good. There's one called Merlot, for example, and there are other places as well, but I usually use Pixabay. Okay, again, that link will be below the video. Okay, so we're working on posters. Now we're going to make our poster, right? So the students need to be asking themselves these questions. What message do you want to send your viewers, right? They don't need to talk about the entire article, okay? Maybe you just choose one tip, not sneezing into your hands, or always washing your hands after you touch surfaces, or not touching your face. I don't know. There's a lot of different strategies that are recommended in that article that we could make posters out of, okay? Or explaining social distancing, okay? Do you want your poster to be funny or serious or some combination of things, okay? These are the questions the students need to be asking. What will my message be? What languages will I write it in? And what colors will I use? So certainly I'm thinking about these posters having an English element. I am an English teacher after all, but a lot of the viewers for these posters may not speak English. So probably Russian language would be great on there. Kazakh language would be great on there. Those are the kind of things we'd like to see, okay? It is really valuable when we look at these posters to notice that if we use too much text, it is difficult to have a poster stand out. So in that way, less is more. Just get the really big message and nothing else on there, and that usually is the best way to make an effective poster. We also want to be really careful with colors. Some colors are harder to see, okay? So if you have like a yellow background with orange script, that's going to be really hard. Blue might be easier, right? So we need to think about our color combinations too, okay? I'm going to show you one finished result. Kind of finished product. This is a poster that I made. It says, lend a hand, don't sneeze into one. So lend a hand means reach out and help somebody. It's an American English idiom. But we don't want to sneeze in our hand, right? So we should sneeze in our elbow like this girl is doing in the picture. So then it says sneezing into your elbow is a good way to prevent germs from spreading. It says no COVID KZ. That's kind of the hashtag I would like to use. So once students are ready, they can share their posters with their teacher or share them online on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag NoCOVIDKZ. And also they could tag US and KZ, that's the US Embassy's Instagram page, so that we could share the best posters on our social media platforms. That would be tremendous. Again, my name is Ben Taylor. I will put my contact information at the bottom here for anyone who has questions. I'll also put a link to a Padlet. That Padlet actually has lots of different resources connected to what we just talked about here, so you've got all the information that you may want to use. Okay? Rakmiet, I hope to see some great results from your students soon. Salbonis, thank you very much, Kazakhstan. Stay safe and healthy.